They're
Let's
gone.
do this.
Here we are.
Richard, I've always
already
wanted to ask
dancing.
you, where was that picture taken? Because you look happy as can be in that picture.
I don't even know. where
Probably
that was taken.
24/7. I don't know. I think it was at Staffing World, to be honest with you, at one of the events. I think it was Monster's event. So thank you to Monster for the happy look, right?
Oh,
That's
man.
awesome.
24/7 with me. Hey, everybody. I got my sidekick, John, with me today, and we have a special guest, good friend of mine, Nancy from
Hey.
Randstad. Nancy.
Hi,
How
pleasure
you
to be
doing, Nancy?
here. I'm good. Nice to be back with you, Richard, and nice to meet you, John.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
You
Yeah,
bet.
and we have a good topic we're going to talk about this week. But I'll tell you what, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. And I tell you what, the staffing market, John, it's opening up more and more every week. I just got another order for 20 more light industrial. And it's just like, yeah, the gates are flooded right now. And I will say one thing, job seekers are, they're hot. So you better pick them off right now because they're getting 5, 6, 7 job offers. If they want
And that's what I was about to say. In terms of job seekers, I've noticed it incredibly. Like, I'm getting called at least once, twice a day by headhunters going, hey, I have this position. Are you interested? Getting emails, getting a lot of outreach to people looking to hire. So definitely, it's good news for all of you that are still looking for a job. Don't give up. You got this. You're going to get placed. Just hang in there. It's opening up. Things are coming back.
Absolutely. All staffing indicators are pointing north for the past couple months. So that's good.
Right.
We like seeing that trend.
Yeah.
It is, and it's going to continue throughout the year. I think we're just opening the floodgates. It's like if you see my postings, it's baseball season, man. It's time to hit home runs, and it's like, woo! It's exciting for
Richard
me
is the king of analogies. I love it.
I know. I've missed you,
for
Richard.
a year, John, I haven't been able to fist pump my candidates. I haven't been able to hug them or give them a thumbs up, and now it's like we keep a little bit of a distance, but we can get a picture together now. It's
things
it's
are
good.
good.
Last
stuff.
weekend, I shook someone's hand for the first time in a very long time.
Wow.
It felt great. It was like, that's wonderful. He extended his hand to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm coming in.
Yeah.
And it was
and
it felt good.
it's being Canadian originally, we do the double, kiss on both cheeks, and then moving south where everybody was looking at me like, what are you doing? To go completely like no contact, no interaction. I'm like deprived. I'm like hugging everybody if I can.
Well, it's counter to our existence. I mean, we are social beings. So forcing everybody to go isolated and know you can't touch and you have to stay a certain distance and you're waving and you're, whether it's a fist
Squeegeeing
pump
your
or
hands
early on it was an
afterwards.
elbow touch. It was like whatever. It was like you had to adapt to a new way of life. And now, thankfully, I think people are. It's interesting because obviously the pandemic's not gone. I mean, it's not gone. It's not going away. It's still around. But the more people have learned to act and be responsible, and now you got a lot of people taking the shots. So I think there's mentally, I know for me personally, I've gotten both my shots, and mentally it's just, there's something about it. It makes you feel a little bit better and calmer. It relieves that anxiety. Not to say that you still can't get it, but it makes you feel a little bit better about everything.
Yeah, and it's funny, I do the dance. You don't know what to do. If somebody wants to shake your hand or fist pump you, you're kind of doing this awkward, okay, COVID, I need to hug or kiss you or, do something. So I like watching the dances around people. And even myself, I dance around
I haven't
people.
got denied a handshake yet, John or Nancy, but if I do, I'm just going in for the embrace. Boom.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, if you need any of that, go to Florida. We were down there 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. And man, there was no social distancing whatsoever over there. Let me tell you.
We have stayed pretty open throughout. And I like that. It's kind of like everybody, you respect everybody's views on it. You want to stay inside and not go near anybody. That's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
But, I respect the fact that we kept everything open, because if a business wants to try and make a living, that's fine. If you don't want to go out to that business, that's your prerogative. But so
totally
I
agree
like that.
with you. Yeah. Same with South Carolina. Vermont, coming from Vermont originally down to South Carolina, they're completely closed up still. And then coming to the South, all my friends were like, you went to a restaurant? You went to a comedy club? Like, what is that? And I'm like, it's the South, folks. Come on down, y'all.
Oh, man.
So our topic today.
Oh, yeah, we have a topic.
Throw it out there, John. It's like baseball. All recruiters, job agents, or staffing industry professionals, what do you think? You go 7 innings, right, with the candidate, but do you close the deal? You got to bring a closer in, right? And that's something we're going to talk about today is candidates closing the interview.
Absolutely. Before we do that, I want to hear a little bit about Nancy.
Oh, what would you like to know about? Wait, hold on. Let me over here.
Hey,
John, she has more energy than me right now. Do you know that?
Right?
And that's not easy to do.
What would you like to know, John?
Give us kind of an overview as kind of your background, what you do and where you've come from and what you're all about.
Okay, well, let me see. My story started like everybody else that asked me, like, when we actually did trade shows, and they asked me, like, oh, how can I grow up and be like you? I laugh. I'm like, oh no. There's no little checkbox that you can put on your, college application going, I want to grow up to be a recruiter. I fell into it thinking that I was only going to be in there for maybe 6 months because I was in public relations and marketing. And lo and behold, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the whole world. I've been manager, I've been recruiter, I've been full desk. I've been a director, I've been in human resources, and I just tried to get out. I did. On a number of occasions, I tried to get out, and I just kept being pulled back because I really love my job. I love working with clients, building the relationship, networking, and then finding, somebody job for me is so rewarding. And I get emotional because you're changing people's lives. Everybody I think there's been a shift in the way recruitment is starting to kind of evolve. Like before it was like, you're an agency recruiter, or you're just a corporate recruiter and, chew them up, spit them out kind of. I'm not like that, and I think we're starting to change. I'm a human person. I'm not a recruiter. I'm actually an agent of change for somebody. And to know that I'm able to place a job, whether it be, a administrative assistant or a lawyer or CFO, I don't know their story. What effect am I having on them? Do I know that person doesn't have any more paychecks coming in and they're going to lose their house? We don't know. So the fact that I'm able to do something like that, so small but so big, just keeps me going.
I love the passion.
I do. I'm just passionate. And what's really funny is I decided I was trying to get out. So I decided I'm going to do my master's in counseling. And I wanted to be a counselor. I can't remember exactly, like in therapy. And I don't know what my line of direction was. But I was sitting there in my master's class. And it's stats. And I'm shaking my head going, I don't do stats. And I'm sitting there, okay, I got to be a counselor. I need stats. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, you know what? I am a counselor. I do counsel. I counsel clients. I counsel candidates, not only about their job, but also their career path. I got up, and that was the end of my decision to be a counselor. I decided to continue in my passion, and look at me. I won't say my 20 plus years of recruiting experience.
That's a good thing, because if you've been in the business 20 plus years, you're doing something right. Because as you mentioned, what I like about what you said was that, recruiters now more than ever, and Richard and I have talked about this, if you're going to succeed, you've got to care. You've got to want to know. You've got to get under the surface and get to know your candidates as people first, before you can do anything with them. And clearly, you've done that.
Yeah, and I like going the extra distance, like I'm sure the two of you know, we're 24/7, right? So I give my cell number out. I've replied to texts in the middle of supper on weekends. It's because we're giving that human touch, and there's nothing better than that. And I wish I had that in my past when I was looking for a job, but at least I can now, pass it on to hopefully the next generation and the junior recruiters that I've had the pleasure to work with along
That's
my
awesome.
career. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Well, thank you.
Nancy is full
Thank you for
of
asking.
everything. Full of tricks. I love it, Nancy. You bring the energy. And you know what, John? She's like this 24/7.
Yeah.
Anytime we work together on a project or something like that, she's like this. I've
That's
never seen her in a
awesome.
bad mood.
That's
No,
awesome.
I don't think I ever been. Still trying.
What a great way to be. It's, I'm a big promoter of positivity.
Me
It's
too.
just, it's just so much, it's so much a better way to live.
Yeah.
And when people start, going on the downstroke and complaining this, that, and the other, I'm like, it's all in how what's your mindset? You've
Yeah.
got control over that
And you got to
mindset.
play it forward, right? Especially in today's age, and especially coming out, because I want to stay positive. We're moving forward from last year. We have to give back, and even for myself, if I'm watching somebody, let's say in line at Hobby Lobby or another store, and I see somebody ratting on this poor cashier, I get offended, I get hurt, I feel, because I have the emotional intelligence, and then I'll walk up to the counter and I'll just put a big smile on my face and I said, you know what? You did a fantastic job. I said, I was standing there watching you and you were as cool as a cucumber, and hats off to you, and I hope your boss knows what a good job you're doing representing
awesome.
this store. Yeah. So, and that could have changed their lives, because once you think about it, she was in a bad mood, then she's going to be in a bad mood at me. I don't want none of that. I'm being nice. I'm really like, don't be mad at me because of that person.
Like, don't take it out on me.
No, I didn't do nothing. So you just have to keep playing it forward.
You know what's great? What you said, Nancy, real quick, is every time we get on the phone, and John knows this, to a candidate, we never know what they're feeling like. We don't know if they're sad, they're happy, or mad. So our whole goal is to make them smile.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's going on in their life. And I always tell recruiters, I adopted this from Stephen Covey years ago. And it's always seek first to understand, because they're usually, if they're beefing about something, they're probably not mad at you. They're upset about something that's going on in their life, and they feel comfortable enough to take it out on you.
Yeah.
So you've got to dive in and have that conversation, ask those clarifying questions, figure out, okay, well, what's going on, and let's get to the root of this, and how can I help, type of thing.
Totally agree. I love it. We're all along the same line.
So Richard, I totally derailed you. You get us back to the seventh. Get us back to the seventh inning.
Hey, it's okay. Another pitcher's coming in. I'm ready now.
All right.
So, okay, 7 innings are done. It's time for the closer to come in. So how do you become a closing recruiter to your candidates? And candidates out there, this is for you too. How do you close the deal? That's the bottom line. Closing the interview.
Do you want to go first, Dawn, or should I talk about that?
I think you should talk about that.
No, we want Nancy to go first.
Completely.
Always. Ladies first.
I love quotes, right? I'm a big quote person. They just make me happy, even though my kids probably all roll their eyes every time I mention a quote online somewhere. They're like, oh my gosh. And I've actually taken all the quotes off my wall in my new house here because they're sick of seeing them. So impressions are important. We all know that, right? So one of my quotes is, one day you'll just be a memory for some people. Try your best to make it a good one. And that's how I feel you should at the end of an interview and closing. Make yourself memorable. Show who you are and shine while you're closing your interview at the end, because it's so important. You could go through all the technical stuff you can go through. And I'm one of those recruiters that kind of puts the resume, upside down and say, tell me about yourself. But other companies don't function that way. And we have to go through the standard, okay, tell me your experience, compare this. So you need to stand out and kind of wrap everything up and put it in a pretty package so that they can remember you. Ask questions about the company, things that you won't find online. You can Google a company, but ask, why is this position open in the first place? Ask about why that person loves working at a company X, because you're getting more of the human side of it. And it shows that you're inquisitive. Ask about maybe, is there opportunity for learning? Is there any kind of, sometimes they throw in learning, LinkedIn Learning, which is fantastic. Can I take that? Is there education programs within the company? And then be excited about the position. If you're not, well, still be excited because you got that far to the interview. Come on, be excited. And I always tell that, show who you are. And it's okay to be excited. Be human, because you don't want to hire a robot. They want to see who you are. This is who I am. I am me. So show that in the interview. Shine with your technical skills if you can wrap it up quietly in a little, compare from what the job is looking for. Let's say it's media communications, and, pull that out. If that's your real passion, media, PR, communications, then say, hey, I'm so excited about this position. I feel that what you're looking for, I have in my past, and bring that out as well. And ask follow-up questions like, when do I expect to hear back from you? Is it okay if I don't hear anything back, can I send you a quick email in a couple of weeks to see where I stand in terms of your candidacy? And the last, I was so shocked at this stat. I happened to quickly look up, maybe because I'm old school, send an email of thank you, for the love of the heavens. 3 out of 4 people, guys, don't send thank you emails. And that blew my, no, it's a stat. I pulled it up. It's fact, John. And
it's fact, John.
That's like basic 101. Now, to your point, it doesn't have to be a handwritten thank you note anymore. It can be an email, but you got to send an email.
And even like we went through our administrative assistant process to send emails because they didn't want to send out the hiring manager for one of my positions. That's fine. She was always great. Forward it off to everybody, but do send something. Thank everybody for their time, because it does make you stand out at the end of the day. And just like I said, shine during the interview, make sure everything, be prepared, practice your opening line on why you're so wonderful. Why are you so great, Richard? Tell me. Practice.
That's a long story.
Richard was about to answer that question. He's like,
I told him off. Did you notice? I'm just like, no. But yeah, so those are, there's a whole bunch of other things that I can go on, I think, but those are the most important.
You hit on so many keynotes, and the few things that really hit home with me, when you say be memorable, it's so important. To your point, you could have the best interview in the world, but what they're going to remember is how you leave them. Yeah. It's just like, I always call it the bad movie ending syndrome. If you go see a good movie and the movie's great, but the ending stinks, people always talk about the bad ending.
Yeah.
And an interview is no different. So you said a few things that I totally agree with, and I always counsel candidates to do. Be excited. If you are interested in the position, let them know that you're interested in the position. Don't assume that they think you are, but be excited and know why you're interested in the position. Not just for your qualifications, which hopefully you quantified throughout the interview, but let them know why you're interested in working with them and with that company. And then, see if they've got any concerns, see if they've got any unanswered questions. Yeah. And to your point, ask what the next step is. Ask if it's okay to follow up. So have that communication and end strong, as opposed to just saying, I don't have any more questions. You answered everything. Asking good questions at the end. And I love the question that you said about asking the person why they work there, why they've been there so long, because that is a big telltale sign. Now, hopefully the person interviewing you has been there for, at least a month. But you never know. In any event,
at least a month.
Why did they choose the company, and why have they stayed? What's kept them around? Because as we all know, we're in an age where if people don't like where they're working, they have no problem up and leaving. And they're taking control of their careers more so than ever. So as a company, you've got to have something that draws people in and keeps them there. Otherwise, you're going to lose your talent.
And I think and I love listening to their stories, what got them there. And it almost takes them out of the interview mode and makes them human again. Like, well, Nancy, why I love this company is because we have basketball on Tuesday nights, or we have, I don't know, when we used to be able to go out and do conferences or whatever it will be. It's nice to hear their side, and it makes them at ease as well.
Well, and usually you're going to get a response that's not a corporate line, to your point. And it's not going to be like something you'd see on a job description. It's going to be something real that genuinely drew that person in, and something cultural that keeps them around, typically.
Yeah, exactly. Because our jobs are so much of who we are. You want to work for a company that you're excited about, that you can say proudly, hey, I work for XYZ company, and guess what? We're doing this to help the environment. We're doing this to support people. And it's nice to be able to, again, show that excitement, find out, get the questions out that you need answered, and end it up in a pretty bow. Don't stalk them afterwards, though. Please, no stalking. Stalking is not allowed, okay?
So here's a question for you guys. So let's say everything goes well and you do all that, and at the end of the interview, the person says, well, you know what? I'm really concerned because you don't have experience in this area, and I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. How do you
What
handle
do
that
I
question?
need? Well, I can do it. I'm a real fast learner. And what is it that you feel I'm missing? And how can I take the steps towards getting that experience that you need? Or whether it be just a program that I need to take, I'm willing to do anything because I really feel that this job is my dream job. And I want to work with you as a manager.
Wow.
Turn it into a positive. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's mine. I'll get it done for you. Simple as that. Boom.
Yeah, there you go.
Done.
That's
Since
it.
when are you a shorter talker than I am, Richard?
You know what? I was actually going to get some popcorn right now and just watch the show. I'm thinking, man, do I ever come off the bench here? No, I'm just joking. I'm loving it because this is what we do. We want to get our guest on here. And
I
Nancy
love
hits
it.
so many key points. I think the thing is bold and confidence. When you
Yeah.
closing. You got to be bold and confidence.
And be humble. If you don't know something, don't be shy. If they ask a question and you don't know it, don't fake it. I mean,
Correct.
I know people say fake it till you make it, but I'm not like that.
No.
I can't do that. So be humble, be genuine, because they don't want to see one person when they're interviewing, and then on your first day of work, you're like sitting there like grumpy and like, what happened to that person that I interviewed? And another point that I'd like to bring up during this call is the fact of body language. If we're doing Zoom interviews, we're not sitting across from people, but keep those, points that keep them in mind with when you're doing Zoom interviews. They're just as important to watch. Look at the camera, look at the person that you're talking to. Make sure you're dressed professionally.
Totally. Yeah. Just
All
because
those
you're
things
interviewing
too.
over Zoom doesn't mean you don't dress to impress. I mean, that's got to be,
Exactly.
it
Eye
just,
contact.
you can't
I'm
be
sorry,
laid
I'm a
back.
little all over the place. I just get so excited talking about
all good.
all recruiting.
Me and John can handle that all over the place. He knows what's
Absolutely. You talk about that when you coach candidates, again, back in the days when it was in person, and hopefully we're getting more back to that. I always just tell people, look, your interview starts the minute you get out of your car in the parking lot, because you don't know what eyes are on you. And everyone you come in contact with, not just the people that you interview with, you don't know if the receptionist is going to be asked what they thought of you. You don't know if the security guard is going to say something to the hiring manager. You don't know. So you better treat everybody with respect and be on your game from the minute you walk in that door to the minute you go back. And it's interesting when you talk about follow-up thank you emails, again, if you interviewed with 5 different managers, then you're sending 5 different thank you notes, in my opinion, and they've all got to be a little bit different based on the conversations you have with that person to show that you listened. You can't just send the one canned letter to 5 different people, because they will compare.
So here's what I have, John, real quick. Sorry,
Richard, can I just add this? Because it's just a funny story. I have Nancy's story. So I'm in a debrief, and we were talking about a thank you note that the manager got. Sure enough, she read it, and each of the other 3 on the panel go, oh my gosh, I got a one. Oh my gosh, I got one. So they all came in as we were debriefing this particular candidate, and each thank you note was, like you said, different because they read each one. So that's a really good point, John.
That's awesome. What were you going to say, Richard?
Oh, is it my turn? No, I'm just
Richard, you're still here.
Hey, you know what? Just remember, at the end, I always make the closing statement. That's all they remember, right? That's all they remember, right, John, from the whole show? No, here's one thing I want everybody to know. When do you send out the email, the closing email? Thank you email. Do you send it that same day or the next day? I'm a firm believer it should be that same day.
I would say I'm really good within the hour.
When you get home.
Yeah, I would say within the hour if you have time. Obviously, you also probably are working. So I would say, the rule of thumb is 24 hours. I say send it by the end of your day.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And
yes, hot.
Please spell check and grammar check your thank you emails. I have known, I knew a story. It wasn't my candidate, thank God, but a candidate was interviewing for a position that was very analytical and detail-oriented, operational and focus. And they thought they'd be really slick. So as they were walking to their car, they got out their phone and started sending a thank you letter from their phone. And it was filled with typos and errors and punctuation. And the manager replied and said, you know what? I was really considering hiring this person, but if that's how serious they take sending a follow-up communication, what are they going to do when they have a project to run? And it actually hurt them. So while it's important, make sure that, you proof it, but also get another set of eyes on it. Hey, how does this look? How does this sound? Because You never know. I always, as a recruiter, I always encourage my candidates to send me what they were going to send as a thank you. And, just to kind of put another set of eyes on it, not to change it, but just to make sure that it flowed, that the punctuation, the grammar, all that kind of good stuff, because it's the little things that can really either help you or hurt you.
Yep.
Exactly.
Good point.
That's why everybody should watch Shark Tank. That's the pitch to close. Hey, you know, at the time to be around
if
Shark.
If you're not prepared on Shark Tank, you are toast.
Same way with the closing here. I mean, That's one thing I want to ask you guys. What about the final, when you get up, did everything for the close, give the firm handshake? Is there any verbal going on at the end and say, hey, I'll be looking forward to your call. I'll be looking forward to, next steps. So many people get scared when they get up and they just shake the hand and run out the door because it's like, wow, it's over. What do you recommend?
Thank you for their time. Say, I really appreciate the time that you spent with me and getting to know me. And I'm really, again, so excited to hear back from you about this position. And I hope to hear back from you soon. But again, show that you're really excited and you're motivated, and thank them for their time, because interviewing is tough. Especially when you're going, and that's another point we didn't bring up, but you're competing with how many faces that you don't know of. So this is a great topic because you're prepared for the interview. Now close it, get that job, right? Show them what makes you sparkle. And even if it's like, I hope if they've given you some kind of personal little glimpse of their world, try to squeeze that in at the end. So they know that you've listened. It could be a baseball. It could be something that connected you during the interview. And I always find that is like something that shows.
Oh my gosh, the connecting is key. So the active listening throughout the interview and being able to say, hey, based on what we talked about, especially when we discussed X, Y, Z, that's where I can really add value to your team. Again, expressing their interest. And to your point, Richard, when I'm leaving, I am being assertive. I am asking for the job. I'm asking them, is there any reason why you wouldn't hire me for this job? And I'm asking them, when should I expect to hear from you? I want to be proactive. I want that assumptive close. I don't want to just say, thanks, I look forward to hearing from you and back out. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's passive. I'm going to be saying, when will I hear from you? What's our next step? I want them to know that I am interested, that type of thing.
Exactly.
And I've had a candidate that I, went and asked, is there something that you can share with me in terms of the project that's available that I can kind of research? So in case I do get to the next step and I am hired, I want to be proactive and look up some of the information. Yeah.
And your candidates have to, any candidate has to understand that when they do any of that, number one, most hiring managers, let's face it, they're not the best interviewers. Okay. They don't interview as recruiters. I say we interview more people in a week than they typically would interview in a year.
Yeah.
So they're not skilled interviewers. Some are better than others. So when you ask them questions like, how do I stand versus other candidates? Or do you have any concerns? They may not be, or what the next step is, they may not be comfortable even telling you, but you still have to ask it. Be prepared for a generic kind of answer, but you've still got to ask it because, again, to your point, Nancy, you've got to stand out. You've got to be memorable because it's going to be competitive.
Exactly. And I think something else that we should also in the interview is say, hey, let's take a tour. I'd like to check out your facility. I would say, you have a little bit of time. I would love to check out everything. Right there, boom. You're a step ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's something that they can do virtually too, Richard.
Yeah.
If they need to. A lot of companies I know have done virtual tours and they've recorded it so they can send the person a video, or they can, pick up a laptop and walk through the facility with them and explain what they're looking at, type of thing. Because a lot of it is you want to get a feel for the environment. It's so interesting because nowadays some jobs are going to be 100% virtual moving forward. Others are going to be hybrid. Others will be back in the office. And if you're going to be in an office, I know me personally, it's really hard. If I'm going to be in an office environment, I need to go and stand and walk through those halls. I've got to feel the vibe. I've got to see if there's happy faces sitting around or if they're miserable. So you need a feel for that culture, and you can't get that over a telephone call or even a Zoom call for the most part. So, I knew, a lot of people, not a lot of people. I knew one guy who he's been hiring during COVID. And what they would do is they do everything Zoom, but the last meeting, he's got a small team of 6. They would bring the person in to an outside area and they would all social distance and they would talk.
Nice.
And I thought that was a great idea because you're getting a feel for what am I joining? Even if I can't physically be with you from the onset, I'm going to have to be with you at some point. So we better, get along together and work together.
Very good.
Exactly. So how do we coach the candidates? Because I know this is a missing thing. We get everybody lined up for the interview, and then a second interview comes up. They're like, hey, you got a second interview? The communication drops off. I've seen it happen before with the recruiters and the candidate. It's like, okay, you're on your own. When do we need to step in? I think we need to step in the day before, prep them, get them pumped up.
Yep.
What we're talking about right now, they should be dotting down. I said, recite it a couple of times in the mirror. Just get yourself, be yourself, but throw this punchline out. Nobody's going to be scared of you on this. Throw it out there.
I agree. The day before or the evening before, especially if a candidate's working, you want to talk to them without distraction. You want to make sure that it's a two-way engaging, active prep. Ask them role play questions with them that you think will be asked. How do they respond? That'll kind of let you know how much coaching they need because everybody's different. Some will be better than others. And yeah, you do. You have to pump them up. You really do.
Yeah, it's until and even after they get the job, it's an ongoing thing that you're coaching candidates. First interview, second interview, remind them, okay, don't forget to email and say thank you. Don't forget this. And it's constantly until they're sitting in that seat. And then afterwards, I still, I'll touch bases with them and see how they're doing. And just, it's a constant communication. Like you said, prepping it before, in between, and even after. And I've had people, years later reach out to me and say, hey, Nancy, I'm up for a promotion. Can you help prep me for this?
That's awesome.
And it's great to see their whole evolution from start to finish and not beyond. It's all about coaching, right? And mentoring.
I could never understand when you talk with candidates and they've worked with other recruiters in the past and they say, wow, other recruiters, they never did any of this before. And
I know, it blows my mind.
Part of me says, thank you, because that makes my job a lot easier to stand out as a recruiter. But the other part of me says, that's why some of our business has such a bad stereotype, and I hate that because not all recruiters are like that. There's a lot of recruiters, like the three of us on this call, that genuinely care and do it I would say the right way. And you never want to have a candidate going into an interview that's not prepped. You want to coach them on what they should do. And to your point, Nancy, we coach candidates that we don't even represent.
No, and I've done that, and I'm still doing that. And as I've transitioned jobs, I had somebody ask me, like, are you getting paid for that? I'm looking at them. What are you talking about? Getting paid for what?
It's like, it's just in our DNA. It's what we do.
It is. And I think Richard and I talked about that yesterday. It is so in our DNA to be who we are and the people that we are. And you brought a great point up, John. And I think we talked a little bit about prior to me jumping on this wonderful show of yours, is during COVID time, I was off for a couple of months more than I was in shock. And I discovered who the good people are out there. And I am very sensitive. And before it used to be my curse, but actually is my superpower now. My sensitivity makes me human. And it makes me good at my job, actually. But going back to what I was saying, I discovered that there is not a lot of good people out there who I thought were good people. I would reach out, I would network, I would ask and I'm not very pushy. I'll just ask in a kind of not to bother anybody. But I discovered people weren't like me. Like, I get tons of LinkedIn. Can you help me? Can you do this? And God bless me. Sometimes I'm not like as fast, but I will answer every single email that I get in LinkedIn. And I will try to help, or I'll say I'll get back to you. But during the time that I was off during COVID, I was shocked. So we have to keep on being who we are and show the next wave of recruiters what makes you stand out and be different. And every time I get a thank you for something that, I don't feel I deserve, it just, like, I put it in my little inbox. And when I'm having one of those rare kind of, oh my God, I suck, moments, I go into that inbox and I'm like, oh, I do good in my job.
Love
and I
that.
love it.
Your own personal quote bank of inspiration.
Yeah.
Love it. Let me ask you a question. So you had a little hiatus during COVID. How did you end up in your current role?
So I seriously, and I'm going to tell everybody out there who can agree, I was a long time. Last summer when we moved to South Carolina, I spent every working day, 5-6 hours a day looking for a job. And it took me months, and I couldn't understand until I realized that there were so many of me out there. So I ended up getting one contract working for a freaking amazing company that I absolutely loved, but it was just a small contract. And then I got basically reached out by somebody at Randstad who got me in connection with another person, And then voila, I am here working for Randstad SourceRight. So I'm pretty excited. I'm new. I'm a newbie. This is day 8. So yeah, and nobody helped me. It was just me on my own. Keep on trucking, keep on looking, never giving up hope, and just keep on loving what I do. And hopefully a company would see that and pick up on it and grab me. And now I have a new home.
So when you were interviewing, did you prep yourself? Did you have someone else prep with you? How did you get ready?
Gosh, no.
Because that's always the curse.
I know.
Whenever I've interviewed, it's like, okay, I prep a million people how to do it, but I can't prep myself. It's like, how do you do that? It's harder.
Richard, it's super hard. Everybody asks me the same thing, and I'm like, I guess I do what I preach to my candidates. So I research the company, I network, I snoop on LinkedIn, not stalk. If I'm comfortable, I connect with them on LinkedIn.
Oh, I love that word. We're going to say that now.
What?
Snoop instead of stalk, right?
Yeah, snoop. I just snoop around and just prep myself on that. And again, when you do this for so long, there's no script, right? We have so many a wealth of experience. I call it my bag of experience. And I can pull out Nancy stories left, right, and center, and just use all those for my interviews.
That's
Nancy
awesome.
Drew Mysteries. That's you.
Nancy Drew Mysteries. Oh man, those bring back good memories.
You know what? All I can say is Nancy never gives up. So if anybody out there is looking for a job, look what Nancy did every day. I mean, never give up.
Never gave up.
It is true. When you were looking for a job, and I lived and breathed that, I parted ways with a company. I had relocated to Florida, was with one firm for 16 months that I thought was going to be amazing. Turns out it wasn't. And
that's okay too. And that's another point.
You know what? It's fine. Everything's a learning experience. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And it did, because it positioned me well for what I'm doing now. But when that happened and we parted ways, I was like, okay, wow, what am I doing? So to your point, when you don't have a job, your job is to find a job.
Oh yeah, never stop.
So
never stop.
You have to approach it like a job.
Yeah. And I'll tell you a quick story that I never finished telling, if we have time, about being creative, because I have a marketing degree. I'm a marketer, right? And I am so creative. And I tell that to my candidates, never be shy to be creative, because again, it makes you stand out, right? So I decided I wanted to work for BMW. I just wanted to be a corporate recruiter for BMW. So again, I snooped.
You wanted discounts on the cars. Come on.
I want to go on the racetrack. Are you kidding? I want a discount on the cars, but I also want to drive on the dang racetrack. Anyways, so being creative, I'm like, okay, how can I get myself noticed? So I said, so I got this box. I went out and bought a little BMW Tonka toy or whatever, wrapped up the Tonka toy with tons. I went out and just printed a whole bunch of BM stickers and all those kind of things, cut and pasted it all over this box, did a creative cover, and it said something there was this lady on a computer, and something along the line that, what happened if you couldn't find the people to build your cars? And then I said, to find out the answer, if you want to know what or whatever, I can't remember, it was last summer, open up the box. And inside was my cover letter to the hiring manager by name with my resume. Wrapped up in this little plastic thing was the BMW car with all the little stickers. and I sent it off to BMW.
I love that. Getting
be
creative. I
creative.
guarantee you stood out.
I did. And I got the old standard line. Thank you so much. It was so much fun to get your resume. Please apply online. I didn't even get a call.
Hey,
Oh,
John,
let's hear it for the
car-
candidate experience.
Hey, Nancy, that car is on somebody's desk. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I know, but isn't that cool though?
It's very cool.
You never know. South Carolina is small.
You should go
Greenville's
repo
small. That's funny. But anyways, it just, again, be creative sometimes. And if it takes something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, even if it's, you were talking with the person about some kind of a magazine article or Inc. article, and hey, do you want me to send you that after you finish the interview and stand out? And he's like, oh yeah, I'd love to read that article. Here's my business card. Chang! I got his full name and email address.
There you go.
Exactly. Praise. When you praise people on accomplishments, or just praise them just on what they do, it goes so far.
Yeah. I think I've taken up a lot of your time, guys.
It's been great, Nancy.
It's great. You know, one thing I want to talk about real quick before we wrap things up is recruiters. You know, you got affiliation with the HR and the hiring managers, but send a thank you email also that take the time out. You know, I have 8 candidates going tomorrow for an interview. I'm going to say, thank you for taking the time out. Which ones would you like to select? P.S. all 8, right? But no, you know what I mean?
You have to
I think
build
that
that
goes a long way
relationship.
too, that we have to thank the people that we work with every day too.
Absolutely.
100%. And I've noticed there has been a shift, because it always was the attitude of them and us. You know, human resources, recruiting, they're totally not the same. And I've noticed over my past contract that we're starting to realize that we both need each other. I've always needed them, but they've always been a little bit standoffish. You're just a recruiter. What do you know? You're right. I don't know about laws and certain things. I'm never going to deny that I know it. That's why I need to partner with you, and we have to have a good relationship. But I'm about relationships that everybody needs to kind of meet halfway and build them. So that is something that's really important, your relationship with your human resource business partner.
It's important that they recognize that we should complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we each have different areas of expertise, and neither is out to remove the other from a job.
Exactly.
We're here to help everybody win and achieve the overall goal. And to your point earlier, that takes a little bit of trust building and relationship building. You got to prove yourself to each other so that you develop that trust. But once it's there, if you get a good relationship working with HR, it can be really powerful.
Gold. Yeah, it really is. And you know what? At the end of the day, a hiring manager is ecstatic, because both of his teams are both people in his team are working together to get him the best possible new team member. And what more can you ask? Clients happy, HR is happy, recruiters doing our happy dance going, we got the job.
Happy employees, happy boss, right?
There you go.
Yeah. We have to have another topic. I don't know.
I think we may have to have Nancy back, Richard.
Oh, we're going to bring Nancy back. You know what? She's going to be, we're going to have Happy Nancy. You know, we're going to have, her nickname's Fancy Nancy, John, by the way.
Yeah. It is unbelievable. I had so many people. I think it was my stepdaughter that Kindred started calling me Fancy Nancy. And then I had my old team called me Fancy Nancy. And then Richard started Fancy. So I'm just Fancy Nancy.
That's great.
Oh, a cup of Java for all of us. Fancy.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much. And, and there's so much, like I said, we can go on to topics. I mean, just boom, we can talk 24, 40 hours straight about recruitment and the relationship building, how to make people comfortable, how to listen, how to, pick up on cues, ask important questions, or anytime you want any of those free flowing from my mouth, you call me and I'll be on.
Flowing thoughts from Nancy. Hey, Nancy, let's wrap it up with 1 minute. What would you tell job seekers, candidates out there, and recruiters how to close the deal?
Show them who you are. That's basically it. Shine, and keep on shining once you get the job. But just be true, be humble, be kind, and want it. Be eager. Show them that you can do the job and even more. So, and never give up. Keep going.
Awesome.
John, what's your thoughts, John?
You know what? There's not much Nancy said that I can't count that I don't agree with today, and it's always great to see other people with similar philosophical beliefs in the recruiting world. Yeah, to her point, know what you want, know why you want it, and go after it. And don't be discouraged. Keep persevering. Go for what you want. Find something that's going to make you happy, but where you can also contribute. And when you get in that interview setting, make sure you close strong at the end. Tell them you're interested. Find out if there's any concerns. Get the lay of the land as far as what the next step is going to be, and follow up. Don't just leave it and wait to hear from them. Be proactive.
Thank you notes, please. Thank you notes. Don't be 3 out of 4 that don't send thank you notes.
Correct. They mean a lot.
All right. My closing statement is, thank you, Nancy, for coming on the show.
Thank you guys.
Nancy's always welcome back all the time. My thank you note to you, John. Always. It's a pleasure, man.
Richard, you're the best, man.
I did my thank yous already, and we're not even off the show. Is that great?
This is a great topic, guys. Really good conversation.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be with you and to meet you, John.
Enjoyed having you.
Thank you,
just
guys.
Remember, never give up. The Eye of Tiger's with you. Play some music before you go into that closing interview. Trust me, music, Rocky or whatever you like, and rock it out.
Pump yourself.
Till next time, same place, same time next week. We'll see ya. Take care, guys.